Zweig Group invites all AEC industry leaders to the 2024 AEC Small Business and Entrepreneurship Forum, the premier event for small firms in the AEC sector. Experience innovative strategies and insights on May 21st, crafted by Zweig Group's industry experts. Engage in keynotes and interactive sessions focused on recruitment, retention, and business growth. Join Zweig Group for this unique networking opportunity and take your business to new heights. Secure your spot today and be part of the AEC industry's future. Visit zweiggroup.com for more information. The Zweig Group team looks forward to welcoming you.
Welcome to the Zweig Letter Podcasts, putting architectural, engineering, planning, and environmental consulting guru Mark Zweig and his team of experts straight talk in your ear. Mark has more than 30 years of experience helping AEP and environmental firms thrive, and these podcasts deliver his invaluable management, industry, client, and HR advice directly to you, free of charge. The Zweig Letter Podcasts let you develop professionally, wherever you are.
Hey everyone, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Zweig Letter Podcast. Our goal is to bring you some of the best and brightest minds that the AEC industry has to offer. Today, I am pleased to welcome back yet again Sanjay Jenkins. Sanjay is a member of the Zweig Group team here in Fayetteville, Arkansas. He's part of the marketing and social media team, and he's doing all kinds of things to help push us into the forefront of the 21st century when it comes to marketing and branding, and just an all-around great guy. Sanjay, it is great to have you back once again, and I think this marks another episode of our Lifehacker series, and we're going to be talking about marketing today.
That's correct. Yeah. Thank you for having me back on this show. It's a second home at this point.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, we're going to keep it going with you, and I think you guys are going to hear more and more of Sanjay as we move forward. But so today, really want to talk about just, I think the phenomena of social media and marketing, and especially at the crossroads of where they intersect in the design industry and how firms can leverage and take advantage of that. We had a really interesting situation happen actually just yesterday, and I thought it would be good for you to kind of share and tell our audience exactly what transpired and what we did,
yep.
and actually what the feedback was, which I thought was quite interesting.
Okay, so let me set the stage. Yesterday we come in, I'm on Twitter, and I see trending hashtags, and some of the trending hashtags, these are things that are trending for everybody. And then it's also going to give you stuff that's relevant to what you normally look at. One of the things that was relevant to what we at Zweig Group, the Zweig Group Twitter account normally looks at, was the licensed PE day. Yesterday, August 2nd, was licensed PE day. So we had this, we've been talking about this for a while now. But to sort of directly message people on social media, because that's, one of the biggest strengths of Instagram and Twitter specifically, is to be able to connect with people, on a one-on-one basis. So what we did was we looked at everyone who was a PE, or we looked at these big organizations, and we sent them just thank you messages. And they were completely genuine. Like, we genuinely believe that the work that PEs do is valuable, and it's necessary. It keeps us safe.
Yeah. And
this whole day was for is for them, is to celebrate PEs.
I want to put a disclaimer out there. I know for a fact that there are architects in the audience listening, so we love you too. And when there is, licensed architect day, we are going to celebrate you with the same vim and vigor that we celebrated licensed PE day. So have no fear. There will be equal love on this podcast for architects, just like there is for professional engineers.
Yeah. It's just a matter of time. Don't you worry.
Yeah.
So what we did was, videos. We did videos directly targeted towards certain organizations, certain firms, and certain people, all PEs. Just saying, hey, It's, Randy from Zweig Group or AEC Workforce. It's Sanjay from Zweig Group. We just want to thank you. And, we mention these people by name. We tell them, we try to contextualize what we say as much as we can. And this turned out to be a huge thing for us. We got so much exposure, a lot more retweets than we normally do. And people started to have conversations with us. And that's like the best kind of engagement that you can really have on social media, is when people start talking back,
right, and
start saying meaningful things to you and saying, hey, actually, thank you for reaching out, or thank you for shouting us out, or it was so nice of you to say that. That is the foundation of a relationship, which is what social media is all about.
Right.
And this is a really great, we were there for, less than 30 minutes. We were doing that for less than 30 minutes yesterday. Or maybe just over. It didn't take us long to do it, and all we used was my iPhone and Randy's iPhone, and that was it. Like, we didn't have any special tools, and we were able to dramatically increase our following in a short period of time, increase our engagement, and connect with people that we never connected with before, and we got a lot of exposure that we just wouldn't have gotten if not for how we played hashtag License PE Day.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I think it was a great testament and an example to the stickiness of social. Why you actually have to be social in order to engage in social media.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just something where you slap the app on your phone and all of a sudden you're socially connected.
Right.
You actually have to have a conversation. It's kind of like, I liken it to going to a party. And if you're a wallflower and you don't want to dance, or you don't really want to interact with anybody, you kind of sit by the wall. Well, you know what you get in that situation. You don't get much interaction. It's the same thing here. It's that you have to kind of be, you have to take the initiative to be active in this space. And I know that, I can imagine that a lot of people that would listen to this podcast and are listening are probably thinking, well, Sanjay, Randy, we're so busy, we don't have time to engage people like that. And I'm noticing that more firms out there are hiring people to focus on things from a social media standpoint. Some firms are actually hiring social media managers and others, or an extension of a team's marketing group will handle all the social media inquiries and everything related to social that comes through the doors. And I think it's important that firms need to start being intentional about that. What does their social media footprint look like? We're not suggesting everybody has to go out there and be a Gary Vaynerchuk or, some of these other, internet celebrities, if you will, that have, millions of followings. But, this is a niche industry. The design industry, construction management, it's a very niche industry. There aren't but so many people that work in this space. And so you want to do all that you can to set a standard for what your organization is about, to get the word out about what you do and what makes you special, right? Because each person listening to this and the firm that they represent thinks that they're the best thing going, right? You need to tell that story. You need to create context for it. You need to be able to let people know, hey, this is what XYZ engineering is all about. This is what ABC architecture is all about. And you not be ashamed to let people know, hey, this is how we do things. This is how we operate. This is how we interact with our clients. This is what we do. And I think this, the License PE Day is a prime example of how you can leverage just the natural buzz that's taking place over a particular event or a situation, and leverage your brand, quickly, in a quick manner. Because I think because of what we did yesterday, I can't tell you, I've had countless people following me now that weren't following me before.
Right.
Obviously we got a ton of likes, and some of that may be, you might say, oh, well, what does that really mean? Or how can I translate that into dollars? Again, just think of it from the perspective of you're being social. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you exactly, because nobody can, exactly what your rate of return is going to be on your investment into social media. but there is an ROI in terms of your investment in social media. And some firms can directly point to certain things that they've done that have brought them success, that have won them work, that has gotten them additional accolades, or maybe somebody has picked up the phone and called them and said, hey, so-and-so, I saw what you did for that firm down the street or that company or that entity or whatever. I need that same thing done for us. Can you help us out? You just never know. And all it takes in this industry with the kind of billing that the people that are listening to this podcast bill out in a lot of instances, whether it's a small, medium, or large size job, I mean, all it takes is one project to just change the landscape. I mean, heck, some of you guys could make enough on one project to physically hire somebody to maintain this full time for you. And I understand that there are firms out there that are maybe under 10 people. They just don't have the capacity to bring on somebody full time from a social media standpoint. But certainly, I mean, even just listening to some of the stuff that we're talking about on this podcast and some of the things that we share in the Lifehacker series, you can get some tips and tricks to employ in your daily program as it pertains to social media, and figure out ways to continue to advance your organization and what you guys are doing.
Randy, I'm going to ask you an interesting question. You walk to the kitchen every now and then, right, to get some water, or you walk to the bathroom, correct? Here in our office here at Zweig Group?
All the time.
Yeah. So is your office like right next to the bathroom?
I wish it was, but it's not.
Or the kitchen? Yeah, it's not. So
it is not.
You have a little bit of a walk, maybe, I don't know, 15 seconds, 20 seconds. Well, I don't know if you know this, but you could pull up Twitter or Instagram in that time, find someone to DM, and DM them by the time you get to the kitchen, by the time you get to, the refrigerator to get some water. Everyone's trying to be 95% billable or 100% billable. I know it's a good goal. I get why that exists. But there are these little pockets of time when we can't be 100% productive, but we're just not capable of that. We're not machines.
Right.
You have these little moments where you could do the 1, 2, 3 little things that could change the game for you forever. And the ease of use on these social platforms allows you to do that.
Right.
DMing people or sending them, just making a quick video, like 30 seconds, all it took yesterday. I mean, I don't think, I recorded those videos yesterday. I don't remember any of them going really above 40 seconds, really.
Yeah.
A lot of them tended to be around 25 seconds.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
And you just need to do 2 of them a day. If you do 2 of those a day, every day for a week, just a work week, and when you're walking to get some coffee and you're walking back to your desk or something like that, whatever the case may be, you can do this. It's not, I think people get overwhelmed, like, oh man, we got to do so much.
Right.
You really don't.
Yeah.
You really don't have to do this huge, you don't have to run these big campaigns. If you do little things over an extended period of time, that's really what's going to, change the game for you.
Slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah.
It's not a sprint. You don't have to get out there with the best equipment. It's not about a certain level of production value.
Right.
That's the challenge. And I know with engineers and architects, sometimes, and again, I'm not casting any names or throwing names at people, but sometimes, the audience that we have in the design space can sometimes overthink things.
Yeah.
It's really simple. Pull out your iPhone, shoot a 30-second video, shoot a 1-minute video. That's why Instagram's videos are only a minute long. I mean, keep it simple, real simple.
Yeah.
Shoot some thoughts, maybe come up with a thought of the day or just a design thought of the day, that is the embodiment of what your organization or firm is all about. And it could be, it might be something along the lines of, you may do things that are really exciting, like building really big buildings, skyscrapers. You make really cool bridges, really cool land development projects, or maybe you do something in the wastewater field, which, let's face it, it's not sexy. I get it, but it's still relevant. There is information out there that you could be providing to people that people would find real value in. So don't shoot the messenger.
No.
Just come up with a plan and figure out a way. And if you need some help with that, there are social media strategists that can help you kind of come up with a way to leverage the information that you do have to share, because we know that everybody that's listening to this, you guys are building and doing and designing great stuff. And no matter what, somebody is going to talk about it, and you need to be the first person to be talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said this before, it's a pitiful frog that doesn't praise his own pond. If you're not excited about what you do, how the heck will anybody else be excited about it? So,
absolutely.
So you need to be at the forefront of that and figure out a way to leverage your message and get it out there to people. And if you need some help, and Sanjay or I or somebody else on our team can help you out, we'd be more than happy to chat with you and maybe give you some ideas and even brainstorm for a few minutes. But it's really not that difficult to get out there and get started.
Yeah, this is what I call the ground game. This is free stuff, but hard. I mean, not hard in the sense that you got to do it a lot. You have to have the patience to be able to do this day in and day out, be consistent with it. Even if it's just twice a day for 30 seconds at a time, that's fine. But you have to be. It's hard to keep that going over a period of time, and I struggle with that myself. But the return on that is just, phenomenal. Like yesterday, one of the firms that retweeted us and ended up having a conversation with us was NSPE. Mm-hmm. The National Society of Professional Engineers. Yeah,
they were one of the big people that were pushing that whole hashtag campaign.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
and they were retweeting everybody who was, doing hashtag License PE Day.
Yeah.
If you were a firm, you could have tagged them in it, or even if you just had hashtag License PE Day, chances are you were going to get some sort of engagement with them.
Exactly.
And they were so excited. It was amazing to see how excited they were about it.
Yeah.
And, their communication with us, via Twitter, really, really conveyed that. And I feel like we're able to build a deeper relationship with them now because we had that micro interaction on Twitter.
Yeah.
You just never know how these things will turn out, but you gotta approach every situation with empathy. You got to care about who you're communicating with.
Right.
You have to try to understand to the best of your ability where they're coming from and what they care about, and engage.
Yeah.
You mentioned it earlier. You can't sit on the sidelines. You can't. This social media is not a passive thing.
No.
If you want to make something of it, if you want to use it as if you capitalize on the tools that it provides. That's really it. I had that role going.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was definitely good. And so I would certainly speak to a couple of things. A couple of ways that anybody listening to this, anybody in our audience listening to this podcast can take advantage of social media is by using social media to leverage your brand, both from a business development perspective, which obviously we've been talking about ad nauseum, but also from a recruitment and retention perspective. When it comes to hiring and keeping great talent, which is actually the name of the program that I teach, but when it comes to hiring and keeping great talent, that's a shameless plug there. One of the things that you need to do from a social media perspective is tell the brand story so that other people can get excited about working at your firm, so that they can see, oh man, these guys go bowling once a week and they talk about it and they tweet about it. And there's Instagram photos showing people having fun. They don't just work 60 hours a week and not do anything. They know they work hard and they play hard. That's a perfect opportunity for any firm to leverage social media, even if you just start there in terms of brand awareness when it comes to talent acquisition. Letting people know, first of all, hey, the people that work here like working here, and here are examples. That's us at the picnic. That's the bowling trip. That's the trip where we all went skiing. That, you just go on and on and on. We have a cornhole competition, you name it, whatever. And that's just a veiled reference for those of us that are in Arkansas, but because I certainly did not know what cornhole tossing was until I moved here to Arkansas, and as I like to call it, the Deep South, or the Mid South, if you will. But the bottom line is, whatever you do that's unique to your organization, you need to let people know about it. It shouldn't be a secret. And to me, social media is like the best platform to get that information out there. And I tell firms all the time, and I'm amazed at firms that I go visit and they'll tell me some of the cool stuff that they do. And I'll say, how come that's not on your website? How come I've never seen you guys post anything about these mixers that you have every other week, or these experts that you bring in to talk to your staff that help grow your staff and make them even better than what they are right now? That's the kind of stuff people want to know about. Again, from a talent acquisition standpoint, but also potential client standpoint.
Right.
They want to know that you're constantly sharpening the saw and getting better and better.
Right.
I mean, it just goes without saying, but I get it. I mean, everybody's busy, and sometimes we're so busy that we just can't see clear beyond our current project. I get it. I totally get it. So, and in those instances, when you're a firm that's of a decent size, maybe you do find somebody, and you make sure they understand the culture and they can tell a story of your firm. I see so many firms out there with great stories to tell, and the books are closed. They're hidden. Nobody knows, except for a few people, and they do a little bit of, they may throw up a little paragraph or two here on the website, but nobody's really telling the story. People don't remember a bunch of facts. They remember stories.
Right.
Tell a good story and people will remember you all the time. I don't care. And that's more in life than anything else.
Sure.
But I mean, it certainly is applicable in business, and it is applicable to the firms that we're talking to in the design space.
Do you have any particular caveats when you're trying to export your culture to social media? Anything that, maybe you should stay away from, or, what's the balance there?
Yeah. I mean, that's obviously good. I mean, certainly in this political climate that we're in, I mean, it's like we've never, I don't think I've ever even mentioned our president on the podcast. And it has nothing to do with, politics. It just has to do with the fact that some things I think you should just, stay focused on what you're doing, stay in your lane as far as that's concerned. If it is a discourse on political commentary, that's something totally different. But in most cases, most of us are really just trying to get out there and interact with clients and potential clients. And you don't want to rub people the wrong way.
Right.
People fall on all sides of the aisle, and you want to really be careful for that. So my caveat would be, I wouldn't talk about politics. Probably wouldn't talk about, matters that really don't have a whole lot to do with the industry as a whole.
Yeah.
I would certainly talk about some of the things that you guys being the firms that are listening to this, the things that you guys do on a regular basis to make your environment special. Certainly I would talk about that.
Yeah.
I would talk about, I would certainly talk about the design aesthetic and things that are important to you, whether you're designing bridges or buildings or, doing greenways, it doesn't matter. You want to talk about that. I mean, so there's plenty of stuff to talk about, but certainly I would avoid any polarizing subjects that could certainly put you at odds with a potential client, a potential employee, whatever your politics are, that's your personal business.
Right.
I probably wouldn't talk about religion. I mean, I would leave a lot of that stuff alone.
Okay.
And
the bigger things.
Yeah, those issues.
And a lot of that stuff, when you're like hiring someone, you can't, ask those questions.
Well, yeah, obviously there's certain things you can talk about and certain things you cannot talk about in when you interview somebody. And so, I would keep that same mindset here. Right?
Okay.
And so there are a lot of social issues I probably wouldn't bring up in social media. There's a place for it in a forum for it in social media, but I don't think from the framework of how a business would operate and how a business would share themselves socially, would I get into a like quote unquote social commentary about our country and things along that line. I just think it's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can't come back. You could say one wrong thing and it will screw you up.
Yeah.
So please hear us very clearly when we say this over and over again. Keep it really social.
Yeah.
Focus on your business. Focus on what you're doing to make the built environment even better than it currently is, because we know that you are doing some amazing things. But that's really what you need to be talking about. And focus on your people too. Highlight the people that work for your firm, throughout the accolades when you can, and let them know, hey, this is, that you really care about them. And like they say, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. you can use social media as a platform to do that, to get that word out, to
Right.
appreciate somebody. Oh, Chuck just finished up the Johnson project, or Sally just completed the whatever building, and we're just so excited about that. You want to do that. The other thing too that I'll mention, and we don't really talk about that much. We haven't talked about it much on the podcast, is that a lot of firms don't take advantage of press releases.
Yeah.
But when you think of it nowadays, social media is the new press release.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and that's something we've done at Zweig. I mean, when we were Zweig, White and Associates, press releases were really big. We announced everything, and we encouraged firms when we consulted them to announce everything as well. Figure out ways to get in front of as many people that will listen as possible. Nowadays, you have an iPhone. You've got a 24-hour press release.
Yeah, you really do.
You can get information out there. Set yourself up with an account on Instagram. Set yourself up with an account on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. Make sure that everything across the board is as uniform from a look perspective. And what I think we'll probably do is we're going to have an episode, and we're going to have to bring on one of our graphic experts, Donovan.
We got to get Donovan in here.
And we'll let Donovan talk about just the whole mindset of making sure that there is some continuity when I look at your brand in any form. And that's whether it's through the documents that you're sharing with clients, or whether it's through your social media presence. There's something to be said for that. And there is some method to that madness of designing things properly. And so we're definitely going to have to bring Donovan on to the Lifehacker series and talk about that, because he would have a lot to offer. And I'm sure some of you are thinking about, well, what could we do better, or how could we improve upon our current situation when it comes to our logo and other artifacts that we use to get the word out about our company. So so we will definitely do that in the future, and that will be another topic for another day.
Absolutely.
So,
that's a deep dive. That will actually be a great video for you to tune in on Facebook and YouTube.
We will need to do that on Facebook Live, and maybe even show some examples.
Yeah, absolutely.
And put some links in the show notes about great design in our industry, because we vote on that for Hot Firm.
That's correct.
And so we do a Marketing and Excellence Award, and we look at how firms brand themselves, and we get some great ideas, and we see some great things. And I think maybe we should talk about that and kind of give people kind of a glimpse into what the amazing firms are doing in the design space to kind of separate themselves from everybody else. I mean, it shouldn't be a secret. The opportunity and if you have the desire to be better at what you do and how you represent yourself, then we need to give them those tools. So, what do you think about that?
I'm on board. Absolutely.
So,
as always.
So we'll do that. But anyway, so that is, I think that's just kind of a really good glimpse into our hashtag licensed PE day from yesterday. And I don't know, what are your biggest parting thoughts on that? This is something that we've read about. This is something that I've read about, the direct message. I've thought about doing it, and I've been hesitant to do it just for, I guess just a personal, I just had some internal hesitations that I needed to overcome. Yesterday, Licensed PE Day presented itself, and I didn't really think about it. I just did it. 30 seconds. And those 30 seconds, changed so much for our brand. And I think it's very important for, everyone listening to understand that it's not impossible. You don't need this entire ecosystem of, just a whole marketing, conglomerate backing you. You don't need an agency to, help you do these things. You can do this while you're getting coffee. Yeah.
So I would say do and really have conversations.
Yeah.
Talk to people. These are real people.
Talk.
Yeah, exactly. Real talk. These are real people on the other sides of these accounts. And I think it's very valuable for you to approach them on social media as you would, approaching them on the street or at a dinner party.
Absolutely.
Be genuine.
And I think part of that, again, is just the idea is that, you don't have to do it all in one fell swoop. And if you can get maybe even a social media expert to kind of help you out and give you a blueprint to follow, then you just, wash, rinse, and repeat.
Right.
Over and over again. That's how you do it. It's not so much that a lot of you guys are not in a position to hire a full-time social media person. There are other ways. You could get somebody out of school. You could get an intern. Every young person if you're in a town that has a university or a community college, I guarantee you there's somebody walking that campus that knows social like the back of their hand that could come in and give you some really good ideas and really good framework for how you get things done from a social media perspective. And then you kind of walk them through your culture, your branding, and your understanding of who you are, and then let them go to town and help you out. That's one way to do it, but certainly you can spend more money and go and hire a social media strategist. There are a number of things you can do.
There's what about the middle road and like virtual assistants and
you can get a virtual assistant.
Yeah.
So we'll have to talk about that too. I wish we had more time, but virtual assistants are certainly another option and a way for you to kind of leverage some of the things that you just may not have time to do. Virtual assistants are good for research. They're good for social media applications and helping out in that way. And so it's kind of like a situation where once you teach somebody what to do, they can go in and do it on a regular basis. But at the end of the day, you still have to be social.
Oh, yeah.
That's the whole idea. So anyway, but listen, Sanjay, thanks so much for taking time out of your schedule to join me for another Lifehacker series. We will be back again for another episode of the Lifehacker series very soon. I appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity once again, and I can't wait for the next time.
I want to thank you so much and encourage you today to get a free subscription of Civil plus Structural Engineer magazine. And to sweeten the pot, we are throwing in a couple of issues of the Zweig letter too. Just visit free tzl.zweiggroup.com and leave us your email address. We will take care of the rest. Everything will be delivered to you electronically. In addition, if your firm is looking to hire great talent, please join our mailing list for AEC Workforce. Just text the word hire faster to 66866, and that will get you on the list where you will learn more about this upcoming job board for the design and construction industry. You don't want to be late to the party when it comes to AEC Workforce. As a reminder, all Zweig Group media programs like this one are available in both podcast and video format. In most cases, free for download on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and YouTube, just to name a few places. A link to all of this information, including contact information for our guests, will be in our show notes. And we'd love it if you go to iTunes or wherever you tune into this show and give us a 5-star rating and share this link with a friend. Remember, as the great sage said, sharing is caring. I'm Randy Wilburn.
And I'm Sanjay Jenkins.
And you've been listening to Zweig Group Media, part of Zweig Group. Remember, we exist to make you more successful. Bye for now.
Thanks for tuning in to this Zweig Letter podcast. We hope that you can apply Mark's no-holds-barred advice to your daily professional life. For a free transcript of this or any episode of our podcast, please visit info.zweiggroup.com/podcast. If you want more wisdom and inspiration, in addition to information about finance, HR, and marketing your firm, subscribe to the print or digital version of the Zweig Letter online at zweiggroup.com/publications.